What's up, guys? It's the Big Habibi here yet again, and today I just feel like talking about money, all right? And why you may be wondering why you're listening to this fucking guy talk about money. Well, first of all, this is my channel, so fuck you. But second of all, my nose here, I got a pretty big nose for a white guy, so that gives me a little bit of credibility when it comes to speaking on money, right? Maybe not, but But before we get into the details, I just want to forewarn everyone watching here. This video is going to be long, maybe. It's going to be rambly. I'm trying my best to keep it concise and keep the points flowing from one to one to one, but I'm a bit of a scramble brain. I've always kind of have been. I jump around, so I'm going to try to keep it organized. I've written some stuff down, and I've tried to organize it, but at the end of the day, I don't want to just script everything out. I kind of just want to talk from the heart. When I read a script, I tend to get a bit robotic, but at the same time, when I'm rambly, like I'm not even coherent and I say filler words all the time. So, but I'm going to do my best here. This video is going to be talking about, well, the catalyst that spurred this is about the crypto crash or whatever. It wasn't a crash, guys, but the crypto crash that happened. I guess it was a crash, but on October 11th, 10th or 11th, whenever the hell it was, and the liquidation event. And that is just like the catalyst. I want to talk about that and how leverage trading is retarded, but it goes deeper than that. There's a lot that kind of just flows into each other, like leverage trading flows into why people are leverage trading, why nothing's ever enough, but then why like the undermining of the currency makes people, instead of working, they want to gamble and leverage trade because they realize money's fake, and this financial system's kind of just retarded at this point, especially post COVID. There's a lot to it. It's gonna take me some time to get through. Yeah, maybe if you're interested, I don't know, stick around and watch it. I think I'm gonna bring up some good points. Maybe they're stupid, but you can just, I mean, if you want to call me stupid, whatever, I'll fight you in the comments, but you're free to do so. I'm not going to ban people for making fun of me because that's the whole point of the internet. The point of the internet for me is saying whatever the hell I want and then getting into fights in the comments about it. I've done that since I was 12 years old, guys. I'm 28 now, actually 28. Fuck, time goes by fast, but yeah, so I'm ready to fight anyone in the comment. Like, well, I'm ready. So I'm not pulling any punches. Okay, let's just get that straight. But either way, let's get into the video at hand. Luckily for me, we have our nice stream react format. That's probably not the best for making videos, but okay, I got this part open. So the crypto crash. This took place. Well, let's get this up. So this was the crypto crash, the alleged one. So Bitcoin and much of the market went down from, I don't know, it hit 126k. I guess almost 126k, close enough. On the 6th of October, and it was in the 120,000 region. It crashed down when Donald Blungus, as he usually does, announces his tariff or whatever. It went down from 121k to like it says 112, but I think it got as low as like 105 or 103 on some exchanges. Whatever, right? And then it instantly shot back up to 115k. So basically, it's where it was a month ago, as this guy aptly puts it. The largest liquidation event ever, and Bitcoin has returned to the price it was at 12 days ago. So what this leads us to believe is this wasn't actually like a Bitcoin crash. This was a leverage trader blowout. So the retarded leverage traders, which is a glorified form of gambling, it's straight up gambling. Like, let's be real. That's not investing, that's gambling. So that's who got blown out. Anyone who was greedy and was longing the market got blown out. So it wasn't a crypto crash. Anyone holding spot is like, okay, what do you mean crypto crash? Unless you're holding some meme coin or something. But if you're holding Bitcoin, even Ethereum, like, yeah, yes, a good chunk of your wealth got wiped out. But I don't know if you're, to be honest, if you're buying at this point of the market cycle with the intent of making a quick flip, like, you're just stupid. If you're buying, this is what I'll tell you. This is my opinion. I'm not a financial advisor, but if you're buying any crypto right now, you have to understand that there's a high possibility that it just goes down for 5 years because we're already nearing the end of the cycle. Maybe the cycle is canceled, but I just think the cycle's almost over, guys. Like, so you just have to have the mentality that if I spend money on this, if I invest into this, I'm going to be holding it for 5 years until I'm going to be able to sell it again. Maybe you get lucky. Maybe Bitcoin goes to 135, 140, 150k, like people are predicting. Like I'm predicting. Not that I know anything, but just don't fucking buy it if you think you're gonna flip it in 2 weeks. Like, there's a high possibility that you're just holding it for 5 years until you're in the green again. So just get that out of the way. So this was a gambler wipeout. And like we have people killing themselves. And this guy is a crypto influencer found dead in a Lamborghini during historic market crash. Rip Konstantin Gayesh. So I don't really know who this guy is, but apparently some Ukrainian crypto influencer. But first of all, like killing yourself over losing money, like really, dude, that is like the gayest thing I've ever heard. But second of all, this guy is someone who has already made it, right? You understand this. So he is someone that was already, well, maybe I'm wrong on this, but there's people like, I don't know about him in particular. Maybe he's living like some fraudulent lifestyle where he's like in debt or something. But I take it that he had already made it with leverage trading or crypto in the past. He's an influencer. And if he's an influencer, hold up, he has a platform. And when you have a big platform, you can just earn your money back. It's not that bad. Like he could earn his money back through like YouTube and his platform. So killing yourself like that is pretty retarded, but he killed himself. Maybe he was long on Bitcoin or some other shit altcoin that's fake, and he lost all his money. But when you make it, why are you going long? This is my problem with these guys. These guys, never enough for them, right? And this post, I'll summarize it. Basically, this with the cost of living rising, this guy wasn't being able to buy as much Bitcoin spot as he wanted to. So he put in a big leverage position and expecting like, okay, so I'm not making enough Bitcoin. I'm not buying as much every paycheck that I want or as I want. So he put in a long position and then he got liquidated, right? And it's just greed. Like it's always nothing is ever enough. And this is a big problem I have with many investing, like many people in the investment, financial, crypto circle. I know some of them personally, maybe not personally, but through like I've interacted with them online. And I've seen how they're living and how they talk, and they just have a completely demented way of looking at the world, in my opinion. And I'll explain why. But yeah, so this part of the video is mainly just explaining the liquidation. So 19 billion liquidated from the market, right? So as you see, I'm my brain wants to keep jumping ahead because I'm like getting overly excited, but we got to keep it slow. So I got to keep explaining what's happening. So yeah, the longers got wiped out. My 19 billion greedy leverage traders got wiped out in with the Trump tariffs, and people are mad about like insider trading or something. But at the same time, why are you leveraging? You know, like we know crypto is like this. We know that there's mega whales that can just fucking fling the market one way or fling it the other way if they really want. And Trump can say one thing and we've known this. Why Trump can say one thing, Elon Musk can say, or maybe not. Elon Musk doesn't have this power anymore. That was more like in the previous cycle. But now Donald Trump can say one thing about tariffs, down 10%, right? So if we know this is the hand of cards we've been dealt. Why are we getting mad when it happens again for the 10th time? It's not the first time this has happened. This is like the 10th time. So this is like the worst cycle to ever leverage trade. And it's just leverage traders have gotten absolutely wrecked this cycle, and there's no way around it. So if you're leverage trading, you are stupid. But now I want to get into more of the, I guess you would call it like the macro, maybe more of a philosophical take on the investment money situation. Like I'm being pretty hard on leverage traders here. I will go later on into the details explaining why I can, I guess, sympathize with leverage traders a little bit. But a lot of times it ends up being their fault due to it's like the money becomes an addiction. So here's my opinion on leverage trading. First of all, it's pretty much strictly gambling, as I've rambled a bit in the previous section of this video. Leverage trading is entirely, it's like going to the casino, okay? Maybe you have a bit of a higher win percentage, but at the end of the day, like really, what's the win rate on a leverage trader? It's probably not that high. And I can understand leverage trading. Let's say maybe you have a small, like a really shitty job and you're in a bad situation, but you know you have access to your stupid doomsday device here, Sauron's orb, as my brother actually coined that. The computer, the internet is like Sauron's orb of evil, and he's completely true on that. We won't get into it right now or this video on why that is. So you can like maybe learn. That's something you can follow. You can learn. You can research, and you can make educated risks. I guess leverage trading. Maybe if you have like $5,000 or something, and you can make it big, and many people have, right? They've gotten lucky and they've made it big. But once you've made it big, just give it up, man. You get addicted to the gambling cycle and trying to make the money. But at that point, like when you have $5 million, you can afford your property. You can have a family and provide them a good life. It's not enough to retire, but you can also place five. It's not about just sitting with $5 million in a checkings account and just spending it. Like you can just put it in safe. There's many even recession-proof safe assets that are lower risk that you can put it into. And even if there's a recession and your investment crashes 30% with $5 million, that can last, right? You can still survive off that until the investments recover. You know what I mean? So it's not like, yeah, it just becomes this lifestyle creep of constantly needing to upgrade your lifestyle. And most of the time, this lifestyle doesn't provide people any happiness in the first place, right? There's one thing about leverage traders in particular is that they genuinely do not provide any value to society, because when a leverage trader wins, they are basically gambling it goes up, and someone who gambles that it's going down, they lose all their money, and the guy betting that it's going up gets his money. It's not like there's new wealth created. It's you are taking wealth from all these other idiots that were gambling. When you're investing in just Bitcoin as spot holdings, or you're investing in companies, that capital that you're putting into the company is being allocated and it's being used. That capital can be allocated to improve the business, or buy more assets, increase cash flow, and then you get rewarded through dividends or whatever. So you're getting, or even just the stock price going up, the value of the company is, you've created value by loaning your money out. That's like the idea, right? And even with buying Bitcoin, like there's people who have been debanked that use crypto as like their way of getting paid. There's people who literally are just deplatformed and debanked that utilize Bitcoin and whatever for payment processing. And that in and of itself is a use case, right? And Bitcoin has a use case. But just leverage trading, there's no value creation. It's just straight up, I win, you're fucked. Like there's really no, it should honestly be illegal, just like all gambling. It's just kind of degenerate behavior at the end of the day. This is what I mean when I ask you guys, when is it enough? Like people always set these arbitrary metrics with investments. And I've noticed a lot of times when people are like, okay, well, I'm up 100% on Bitcoin or something, and I want to sell this Bitcoin. I would like to invest into, maybe something that gives you more purpose. Because to be honest, even though Bitcoin has done very well for even someone like me, I don't feel anything when Bitcoin goes up or down, right? I could go up $1,000 in an hour, or like $15,000 in a day, and it's just a nothing burger. But I'll make $700 off my YouTube channel or something, or I'll make this is my prop here. Not that I'm not trying to flex, but I make this through my own hard labor in real life. And I get more satisfaction out of making this than I do seeing my Bitcoin go up 15 grand. Like even though it's 15 grand in my pocket, it's like a hollow victory. I don't know how to describe it, because I just think as a man you have this desire to labor, right? You want to labor and you want to enjoy the fruits of your labor. And it's nice to place money and have it appreciate, but it just doesn't have the same satisfaction. And once you've already made enough money, it's like, let's say if someone were to have sold their Bitcoin, then you would have a large portion of the financial nerds online. They'd be like, oh, timing the market? Well, what happens if it goes to 200? Well, who fucking cares? I'm already up this much, and the likelihood with the 4-year cycle is that it's going to go down, and there will always be another opportunity to buy in. There's always going to be another opportunity to make money. There's constant opportunities like that. So that's just like a FOMO thing. And you know what? I have a bigger FOMO of sitting in a box in the wall, like most of these crypto traders do, where they have a mattress on the floor and a computer, and they spend 15 hours a day staring at charts and playing shitty video games. Not that playing video games is inherently bad, but if your entire life is confined to a little room, ordering takeout, staring at these fucking stupid crypto charts, and then a lot of them, I've seen them on Twitter bragging about like ordering escorts. Like it's just so disgusting. Like it's almost just like this animalistic bugman lifestyle. So if someone wants to take their gains and spend it on property or something that is going to give them a sense of belonging, and it's going to upgrade their lifestyle, or maybe experiencing the world or something, traveling, but even investing in a business. So like once you've made your $5 million, your $10 million leverage trading, you should just not leverage trade anymore. Put it into allocate some into safe investments, allocate some into risk investments, and then I don't know, create some cash flow businesses or something, or create some kind of value. It doesn't even have to be crazy. Like even just buying land and leasing it out or something, or there's just so much more you can do than just keep gambling, right? There's just such a. At what point do you need, like, do you need $100 million? You need $500 million, or what? Like, and when you're gambling, you're gonna get burnt, and that's just what constantly happens. I have a bigger FOMO of missing out on my life. Like, I don't have you. We don't have our entire lives. Like, at what point is it enough? You know, you can't raise a family inside of a Bitcoin. At some point, yes, a Bitcoin is probably going to appreciate more than a property, but a property provides value to you in ways other than just raw money. And this is like goes into the way we view the GDP as well. Like we like to criticize our governments about caring about GDP growth above all else, even including like human suffering. Like, oh, if human suffering could be here, but if the GDP comes from here to here, that's a win. Like, this is progress. Human suffering was here, and now it's here. GDP goes from here to here. That's a W. We have progress. Like, that's kind of the way online traders see finance, right? There's a lot more to it than just that, in my opinion. And if you're sitting there living in a fucking white rentoid room with a mattress on the floor, playing like fucking CS:GO all day for 15 hours, like ordering shitty takeout and paying for escorts, like, that's just disgusting, honestly. I don't know how you can. Maybe it's just me, but I just can never understand how anyone could enjoy living like that. That is just a disgusting, meaningless way of life. I just can't understand it. That's all I gotta say. Like, you should be going beast mode and creating and doing something better than that. Like, if that's all your life amounts to, I'm sorry, but that's just gay as fuck. But so yeah, it's easy to criticize someone for selling it, but that's what it is. These things are tools for us to acquire things. Like, even if you want to talk in straight fiat, like, I could have $1 million in my bank account. What's the fucking point of it? What's the point? It's just a number. Like, it's like an XP bar or something that people see. It's like, oh, I just gotta hit level 60 I gotta get level 60 gold, and then what? Just to have it, just to see like a big number on the screen. It doesn't do anything. If I don't spend that money to improve my life or my experiences or my environment, there's no difference between having $1 million and having $0. Like, I have to spend that money eventually to improve my life. And you don't have to make bad investments, like, but you can invest in stuff that is just, neutral, or maybe you get a little bit back and it provides you some peace of mind. You don't have the stress of the risk. You know what I mean? Like, I don't have to explain this more. I think you guys understand. But here's now where I get into some of the sympathies, maybe not sympathies, but some of the understanding of why leverage traders do what they do. And it's kind of a systemic problem at this point, to be honest. I think our financial system, I know everyone likes to say that. I'm not saying I think it's like a recession is inbound. There's probably going to be an explosion within 5 years, maybe within 10. It's hard to predict. I don't think it's as close as anyone thinks, but I don't think the financial system currently it was designed for a different time, and we can kind of see its failings currently, especially in the post-COVID world where they just completely debased the currency to a point beyond recovery, honestly. But we have this thing now called, I would say it's like vampirism. And let me explain to you why. It's financial vampirism. It's the same thing as a blood-sucking vampire, because when you labor, right? I'm a laborer or something, and I'm laboring and I get paid, and then the government debases the currency. That's me. This money that I have sitting here in cash, if they debase the currency, in 1 year, it's not worth this. It's not worth the same amount I have here. It's worth less. Like, let's say right now I can exchange this money for this phone, and in 1 year, this phone will no longer be worth this much money, even though this money hasn't changed at all. It's just worth less because they've debased the currency. And that is a form of vampirism, because when you're working and laboring, that is time, and your time is your life essence. It's your blood. And by them stealing it from you through interest, through taxes, especially interest on loans that they've set up in the system for the average monkey that falls prey to them, there's everyone there sucking the blood out of you. They have their hand in the cookie jar. They're taking one off the top every time, right? Whether it's student loans or whether it's like a freaking truck loan or even a mortgage. Mortgages aren't as bad because they're more in line. They're like you get a fairer rate on a mortgage, right, than you would on a personal loan or something. But even still, people buy mortgages they can't afford, and then they get like obliterated by predatory usury. But it's basically a form of vampirism. Another thing is when they're debasing the currency like this, it makes earning the currency worth less. It's like it's not as worth to do it. Like with the interest rate cuts now, anyone who doesn't have any money invested is getting fucked by interest rate cuts because it's going to debase the currency further. And it's going, well, maybe you can make the argument that the cheaper money is going to allow companies to hire people, and it's going to be allow them to create more jobs, so maybe it helps them that way. But the reality is their labor and their life essence is being vampired away by the debasement in of itself, as well as the taxes and the interest they're probably paying, and on all the debt they've accumulated in their lives since they got like pranked and trapped by we won't name who, the brigade of people with the small hats, but it's more complicated than that. But you know what I mean. So where was I even going with this? Oh yeah, so someone who has like $100,000, $200,000 injected into the stock market and in crypto, or even has, like it could be whatever. But if you have like a sizable amount of money in these in investments, you're happy that they cut interest rates, because when they do that, the cheap money, a lot of it gets injected into risk assets, as well as that's why gold's exploding right now. Gold's not a risk asset, I know that, but the debasement of the currency has become so bad, and people have recognized this, and they've recognized the U.S. debt is uncontrollable. And when I say U.S. debt, it's every Western country. It's Canada, Australia, everything. When I say U.S., it's the whole Western world, because we're all one country at the end of the day in practice. So yeah, that's why gold is exploding, because it's the debasement trade, right? They're betting against the currency by buying Bitcoin, by buying etc. And but when they cut interest rates, all that, most of that money flows into corporate treasuries, Bitcoin, gold, silver, whatever. And if you don't have any Bitcoin, gold, silver, or in stock investments, and these companies are printing record profits because of all the cheap money in the market, then your cost of living goes up because the currency's debased. So now you're fucked even harder. And what that causes, so just think of it: if you're just Billy Bob Joe working as a carpenter, and you're not keen on investing, and maybe you don't even know how to fucking invest, because let's be honest, maybe you're drinking beer or something instead. Not to sound rude or elitist or anything, but even there's people with like white collar jobs that don't know anything about investing, right? It's just, so you're one of these honest work guys that doesn't have $200,000 invested into fucking Nvidia or whatever other company. Every time they lower interest rates or debase the currency, you just get absolutely obliterated. If you have a lot of money invested, it's good for you, right? Like, you don't care that they debase the currency, because the market accumulates, gold accumulates, Bitcoin, like they all increase in value proportionally or more to the price of that the currency is devalued. But if you don't have anything invested, you're getting absolutely obliterated. So it's just going to keep causing a widening and widening and widening. Anyone with money is like yippee yippee. Anyone without money invested and is just living on their paycheck is like you're blown out. Like you're blown out at this point. This like there's a lot of it is their fault, but I'll explain why. Like, I can have sympathy with them. I'm explaining right in this next section. So not very many people are interested in this stupid ass like world. They just want to they just want to work, labor, have an honest job, contribute to society, and then have enough to provide for their family and kids. They don't want to worry about fucking investing. And maybe you can shit on them for being lazy, because they could also just invest in like cheap, simple risk or low risk dividend paying assets like tobacco or utility companies. But whatever, you know what I mean? Like, you can't think like that, because the reality is not everyone has this mental illness that the top 1% have, of just constantly accumulating more wealth, and how nothing's ever good enough, how I just want more, I want more, I want more, I have to get more wealth, more cars, more power, more. It's all, and at the end of the day, a lot of it is about power. So maybe it's just like this illness some people have, but I do think there is a genetic component about some of these people. The top, especially the top 0.01% of people, they're just like mental ill freaks, right? But that's the problem with a lot of these hustle culture guys like Andrew Tate. They don't understand that the average person is not like them. The average person doesn't have this illness where nothing is ever good enough for them. They maybe they do, but it's not to the same extent. A lot of them are happy and complacent with just, working an honest job and taking care of their family, and that's it. And that does provide net positive for society. We can't have a million drop shippers. Not everyone can be an entrepreneur. The reality is, a lot of humans are born from birth to be worker bees, and there's nothing wrong with being a worker bee. That doesn't make you a worse person because you're a worker bee. And at the same time, I have a lot of respect for anyone that starts a business or is an entrepreneur, but the reality is, not everyone can be that, and there's nothing wrong with them either. So it's getting a little ridiculous. We understand that the system in its current form, and especially with what our governments are doing to us, is devaluing the desire for people to work. Like, working and contributing and participating is at an all-time low, right? Like, it's, but even so, even though times, like, let's say economically times are pretty difficult right now, especially compared to our boomer parents who were born into a blessed time. But once again, you can't necessarily fault them for being born into that wealth. You can fault them for their hubris and their arrogance regarding it and saying, like, pull up your bootstraps, whatever. That's when I get triggered as well. But you can't be mad at them for actually being born into that time because they had no control over that. But the reality is, there's no sense in crying about it constantly, because here's the reality check. We're born into this time. Crying about it's not going to do anything. The reality is, we are going to have to make sacrifices. Even working a normal job, if you are smart, maybe if you're in like Vancouver or California, God bless your soul, or New York, I understand. You guys get a pass on this one. But in most places, with working a decent job, okay, finding jobs are hard now, but with working a decent job, let's say I've seen people making like 106 figures and they complain about not being able to save money. Like, that's your fault. Okay? That is your fault. If you're in any average place that isn't New York, Toronto, even Toronto, you could probably be okay. But if you're in an average place that isn't one of these like mega overpriced cosmopolitan hellholes, you should be able to save money making six figures. Okay, just full stop, no cap, dead ass. Because, and even so, I will take it further. I say that about six figures, and most people don't make six figures. If I was getting paid $30,000 a year, I guarantee you, I would be able to save at least 50% of that. Even paying rent. Because I don't fuck around when it comes to money, as we can see by my nose, alright? No matter how much I was making, even if when I was making like 1600, I think at one point, over a one winter, I was only making around maybe $1,700 a month. I still saved money, and I was renting. I still saved money. You understand that? That's the kind of financial discipline I have. And of course, if you make more money, you can upgrade your lifestyle. You can spend more money on some more things. But when you're making slave wages and you're going through a struggle, you really do have to determine. I know it sucks, but you have to determine between having fun all the time, being lazy, eating out, and buying coffee, or just sacrificing all that and locking in and putting as much money as you can every month into, I don't know, even like a freaking index fund or something if you're lazy. Like, that's the lazy way. Or you can Bitcoin, whatever. But that's a choice you have to make. And the problem with these people is they're lazy in many other ways. And maybe this is my blue collar cope where I'm like, you only work 8 hours a week. I worked a 50-hour shift at the glue factory sniffing glue. I always see these people working 40 hours a week acting like they don't have any time to cook or something. And first of all, if you're one of those people that thinks cooking is more expensive than eating out, I already understand why you're poor, okay? Because if you come to that mathematical conclusion in your brain, you are just fucking stupid, and that already explains why you're poor in the first place. But even when I was working 12-hour days, 6 days a week, sometimes 7, I still cooked, right? I still made my meals because the amount of money you save doing that is insane. I have personal anecdotes. There's people I work with making 140K after taxes, because a lot of the money we were getting was for like living. But these guys would spend probably $50 to $100 on cigarettes, weed, and just fucking beef jerky at the gas station before they even got to work. And like, of course you're not going to save any money. And as soon as the first investment they make when they get money is they buy a $120,000 fully loaded diesel truck, brand new, at a horrible interest rate. So like, if you're poor and you get wiped out, like, I just don't have any sympathy for you. I really don't. Like, I worked with so many of these fucking guys, and they're always crying about being divorced, but you just see why they're divorced, because they're irresponsible, loser man babies that spend all their money on themselves and their gay little toys, and then their wives get fed up and go fuck the hockey coach. Like, that's your fault. You're a fucking bug, man. Maybe that's a little bit of a personal story, but but you know what I mean? Like, so you're at this job where maybe it only lasts 2, 3, 4, 5 years, and then you get greedy. You're like, oh, I'm making this much money, and they just have this idea that it's gonna last forever or anything or something. Like, how about you keep living your lifestyle and investing the excess and then enjoying the fruits of your labor after? Because you always have to plan for a bad time. There's good times and there's always going to be bad times. And when the times are good, people fucking act like they're like who's, I don't even know, who's some guy that like runs around like it's a pimp or something. They run around like throwing money out at the freaking bar or something, like, I'm buying drinks for everyone, you know? I'm doing this, I'm buying a truck, I'm buying a $700,000 house, I'm buying this, and then they have like $10,000 of payments they have to make a month, and they're making 20 grand. Okay, what happens when that project ends and then the economy slows down? Okay, you're fucking bankrupt, you retard. So it's like hard to have sympathy for them, right? So at the end of the day, like, the average person is severely retarded and they're their own worst enemy. And but we are at a point where, yes, it's difficult, but you still can save money. But it's going to, like, I know people like to shit on the coffee thing, but even if you're going to Starbucks every day, that's like $7 a day. It adds up. I even, no matter how much money I'm making, I refuse to pay for coffee unless like I'm in an airport or something. I will literally, if I'm working, it takes longer, dude. It takes longer for me to go to fucking Tim Hortons or Starbucks and sit in the drive-thru, and then I pay more money for a shit coffee. In the morning, I can make 2 fucking 1 liter thermoses of fresh coffee with my own, with like nice fresh beans that I buy, and it's probably like, I don't even know, 10 cents a cup instead of like $3 a cup. Like, are you stupid? Why? It's just a waste of time. It's just laziness. And you can say that I'm too lazy and that's okay. I can accept that. But when you say that you don't have time, that's when I want to elbow you in the face, because you're full of shit. You have time. You have time to cook. If you have a brain, it's called planning. You go to the grocery store, you buy ingredients and meat, and if you want to get it even cheaper, you buy, instead of a little fucking steak, which is, steak is a ripoff anyway, you buy lots of meat, and you cut it up on a weekend and you portion it. Or you can, like, you don't even have to meal prep. Like, you just fucking, I don't know how hard it is. It's not that hard. I've cooked stuff from fresh after work, getting home at 7. It's literally nothing. You put it in the fucking oven. Like, I don't know how people think cooking takes like 50 hours. Like, it's just, to me, the cooking thing that I always see people complaining about, this is kind of an off-topic rant, but it is the craziest thing ever. So there's lots of ways that you can still, you just have to recognize that you pretty much have to invest your money, otherwise you're fucked, because that's the world we've built. So, like, and I personally know people that had upgraded their lifestyle during good times, and they got, and now they're struggling, or they're fucking, or they're either struggling to make it work, or they had to downsize, or they got blown out. And I know you might be saying, well, this is contradictory, right? At the peak of a bull market, or during the bull market when you're up, you should be spending that money on improving your lifestyle. But by improving my lifestyle, I don't mean like buying fucking designer clothes and freaking a house that you can't afford. I still believe in living within your means, but there's nothing wrong with, maybe, let's say you make like $500,000 on, say you have $500,000 of Bitcoin right now. If you spend $250,000, $300,000 on some land and a property somewhere, now that it's Bitcoin's at an all-time high region, like, yeah, it's 110K. I know it's not all-time high, but it's like at the peak of a bull cycle. Maybe we get 1 year more of the bull market if we're lucky. Probably less. I think it's way less. Personally, I'm probably gonna rug pull this year, which is, maybe you could argue, trying to time the market. But I mean, it's not gambling, because let's be honest, I've been in the market since COVID crash. I held through the pandemic up and down, and then I've been buying since 2022, 2023, and now it's 2025, and Bitcoin is like, I don't even know, it's up huge, big time since then, right? Same with ETH. Well, ETH kind of was shit the bed, but you know what I mean. So but I'm not, I didn't have that much capital invested in to begin with. But I'm doing good. But it's not about me. It's about the fact that, yeah, I'm saying I'm contradictory, but it's like, you kind of have to read between the lines and use your fucking brain. It's within reason. So like I said, if you have $1 million, or you made $5 million of leverage trading, stop gambling. You don't need to gamble anymore. You can gamble. You could literally just put your money into safe shit and live forever. And then you could take like 3 million. Let's say you leverage to 5 mil. You could take 3 mil and to put it in fucking Bitcoin. 1 mil, I don't even know the percentage, but this is not even good advice, but you could probably be fine doing this. You could take like 3 mil in cryptos of your choice, preferably the big three. Fucking some gold, whatever, silver if you want, maybe not silver, but gold for wealth. Gold's kind of at all-time high now, but you know what I mean? Gold for wealth preservation. It's not always about making more money. You don't have to have the most crazy returns. At some point, when you have a lot of money, it's worth it for the peace of mind to have safety, to have some form of preservation. And then you can put like 1 million in a fucking just like high dividend returns, like I don't know, tobacco, utility companies, bank ETF, etc. Like they pay good dividends, right? So you can do that, and then you have your diversified, and then the last million you have or whatever, you know how many business ideas you could just start a new business every like you give yourself $1 million and you could just start a new business. Maybe if you don't want to start a business, you could buy some like so at least something to manage. I don't know about you guys, maybe this is me, but I need something to manage. Like if I had $5 million, I would not want to just put it all into like into bum stuff and do nothing with it. I also don't want to gamble though. I don't I'm fine gambling on maybe like a business idea that cost me 10, 20k, but I'm not going to be gambling on fucking leverage trading or at the casino or on RainBet. And that's another thing, like even those guys I was working with some of the times, like this one guy was working, he's on the bus ride. We got paid what, $3,200 on a Friday for the week, and we're on the bus to work, and then we get off. We're in like the morning meeting, and he's like, "Oh fuck, I'm broke, guys." I'm like, "Didn't we just got paid this morning?" I'm like, "Wait, didn't we just get paid this morning? Like, did you not get you paid or something, or like what happened?" He's like, "No, I was spinning 100s on the like he was on his phone spinning 100 on the fucking online casino." Like, bro, why are you here? Why don't you just go home and work at McDonald's? Like, why are you in the middle of fucking Terabithia working for 12-hour days in the frickin' frozen tundra for $0? Like, what is wrong with you, man? I literally said that, and then this guy was like a baby, so he was butthurt at me for I don't know, for like a week. He just had a boo boo. He's like being a boo boo baby about me saying that to him. But it's like, why are you even here, man? So it's hard to have sympathy. So, like I said, like if you have $5 million, why are you gambling and then killing yourself? Just fucking, I would rather be a real estate developer at something. At the worst case scenario, how can you, if you just copy and paste the playbook that someone else did with real estate development, you can't really go wrong. You know, you don't have to make like some crazy fucking $100 million development. You can start out with, building a duplex, building a quadplex for maybe it's like a $700,000 thing. So that's like 60% of your money you've allocated to scheming, and then, but you still have all this other money over here, the $4 million diversified. Like why, or you just generate some value. Like why are you just sitting there gambling, and then crying that you get blowed out and killing yourself? It's just ridiculous. And like I said, money, it's a balance. Sometimes you have to be conservative with your money and sacrifice on the lifestyle to benefit later, but there comes a time when you have to benefit from your money and enjoy your life because you're gonna fucking die one day. And if you die with $100 million in the bank, like imagine I sit in this room here for the rest of my life and I have $100 million in the bank, but I'm like, oh, my goal is 150 million. If I just make this one more leverage trade, like, oh, it's just so dumb, dude. Just like I'm not waiting for that. And this is one more thing. I have to make this point. When you're reliant on this, your life is outside of your hands. I'll do this thing. So if I own assets that are in my name and have a cash flow, an actual cash flow, maybe this should have been way earlier in the video. This is like 40 minutes in, but when you have a cash flow income, even if you lose your money gambling, you're not wiped out because you have cash flow. Do you understand that? Like, I think people severely undervalue just a cash flow, even if it's something small like $500 a month. Like I would investing $100,000, maybe if you're only getting a 5% return, the fact that that is cash flow and that's always going to be there is almost better than, well, okay, obviously appreciating 2 times is better, but you know what I mean? Like that cash flow over the course of your life, it's an insurance policy if you get wiped out, and you can also just invest that cash flow. If there is a bear market, you have cash flow to put into the cheaper assets that will appreciate. So it's like if you spend some of your crypto money, then okay, maybe Bitcoin's 300K in 2 years. Well, maybe it's fucking worth 50K in 2 years. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I believe in Bitcoin. I believe in crypto. I believe that it's going to continue to climb up over the course of 10 years. But I also think there is going to be another COVID incident. There is going to be another Trump tariff incident. There's going to be another 2022, 2023. There's going to be another bear market where Bitcoin's probably going to be sub 100K for 2 years, maybe 3 years. So at some point, like, there is in a way timing the market, but even in the future, if Bitcoin goes up to 300K, there's still probably a time when it comes back down to 200K during some crazy fucking unforeseen crash, like when Israel nukes Iran or something, right? And then if you have a bunch of if you have your cash flow business started that you built now in 2025 with the gains, you will have cash flow to put into the cheaper assets. So it's like there's always going to be another chance to make money, but you will regret sitting on this fucking hoard of money on the computer and just living in your shithole room. That's the whole point of this. And it kind of got complicated. And I don't even think I'm done yet, guys. Like, holy shit, this is a long video. I think it's because I'm rambling and repeating myself too much. But if you've made it this far, I appreciate it. Okay, yeah. But at the same time, like, I can understand where these people are coming from, though. Because had I was thinking of buying a house in 2023, but I instead put my down payment into investments. If I had bought a house, I'd probably have 1/3 of my net worth that I do now, just from investing that money instead of buying a house, right? So it is complicated, and things like OnlyFans and like the streaming thing, it's like most of the money made today in today's society is made off Vice and made off advertising, which is all like streamers get paid via advertising. That's kind of how it works. Even if they're not doing sponsors, the company run ads on their videos. And then like the OnlyFans degeneracy, seeing some bitch make like $5 million in a month. Like it really is demotivating, and something's got to change in the same sense. Like we have to ban that shit or something. Maybe not streamers, because at least they're like, if I had a product I wanted to sell, I would like pay YouTube to put my ad on the streamer. That's at least some sort of, like that's some sort of value, even though I don't like advertising. There's some sort of, like they're providing a service for me, right? There's some sort of goodness that happens. There's at least something you can argue that's good. But with this OnlyFans shit, this is just the most. This is just like, it's basically just prostitution and pornography, and these women for some reason are in the highest echelon of society. And maybe I could go into that in another video, but that kind of stuff is very dangerous for worker productivity, because I know people have to make money, but at some point people are like, what the fuck am I working for? Like why am I swinging a hammer all day when this bitch is just getting all this money? You know what I mean? Like it's just ill. There's so many societal ills right now, and it just runs so deep. And that's why I'm like so scatterbrained when I talk about it, because it's like I'm talking about one thing, and then I'm like, okay, but this is related to this, and then this is related to this, and then I don't even remember what I'm fucking talking about. But hopefully you can read between the lines and kind of get the general idea of what I've been saying in this video. And I'd appreciate anyone who's managed to stick through like the whatever 40 minutes of this shit. And subscribe if you like this kind of content. I'm probably gonna make some more rambly videos, but yeah, peace.